What's up, gentlemen? This is Rising Phoenix Podcast, a podcast about how to rise up after your divorce. I'm your host, divorce coach Michael Rhodes. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to the show. This is episode 163. This is another solo one, and I'm going to cover a few topics, but first, let's do some housekeeping and dive into the latest locations. No one has emailed me, messaged me, or commented that this is annoying, so I'm going to keep doing it because I think it's pretty fucking cool. First on the list, West Hartford, Connecticut. I did a little research, I guess, into these new locations. So, because I've seen some pop up over the weekend, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I've had people listen there before. And so that is true. So it's a new location, but it's a new listener from that location. It's not a new location, I guess. It's a new listener, and they just happen to be in this location because I got a notification or um, a new location listed as Tampa, Florida, and I was like, pretty fucking sure I have listeners in Tampa, and I do, but it's a new listener that happens to be in Tampa. So I don't know that this is the first person that's ever listened to me that lives in West, or maybe they were driving through West Hartford, Connecticut. But it's on the list, and they listened to episode 162, which is the last one. And the next one is actually, it's always cool. I mean, it's cool when it's anywhere, but it's always cool when it's like from places that are pretty fucking far from me. So this is from Buenos Aires, which is cool. 161 is the one you listen to. Next one, Bowmansville, Ontario. Shout out to my Canadian friends. And the last one, oh, and that was the loneliness episode with Dr. Pam. And the last one, Farmington, Connecticut. Two Connecticut's in the same list here. Episode 158, How to Do the Work. I also have at least one piece of fan mail, which was, I don't know, bro, why you took the time to write this, but you did, so I'll read it. It's from Richmond, Virginia. This was sent on the 6th of November, and it simply said, episode about drinking 5 beers every night, question mark. No. I also got a comment on Spotify, I think it was, if I'm not, I think I got 2 comments on Spotify recently. I'll read those. I think it was one. So this is from Bell Craze. I don't think he would mind if I read that because it's listed in his profile. Being divorced once and separated the second time, and it being her cheating, you have to accept their actions as closure. This is the closure episode. Do not look for their words, as no matter how much they say, it will never bring closure, just more lies. So take the action of cheating as closure. Obviously, in the case they cheated. Yeah. I don't want to rehash that episode, but they're almost, I think there's almost no single thing that a person that's leaving you can say to make it feel warm and fuzzy, whether or not cheating is involved or just good old fashioned, I'm fucking sick of you and I'm leaving. There's nothing that can be said to make it feel like it makes sense or that there's understanding. And this isn't what I was going to talk about, but I will talk about it a little bit. You know, that's the struggle with this stuff, this divorce. I mean, if you've been through 2 of them, you have a relational home. This is what MC talks about in her book Unbroken. You know, it's something that's emotionally unbearable that lacks a relational home. Our brain is a giant fucking filing cabinet, and if it doesn't have a file labeled divorce in there, you don't know what to do with it. And that's what causes all this rumination and trying to figure it out, and bargaining and all those stages and things of grief that you go through. It's because your brain's trying to figure it out. And when people say give it time, it gets better with time, it takes time, time heals all. Obviously, I think I've said this many times, I don't agree with that, but what time does allow is for you to figure out where to put that file. And sometimes it's in multiple places. And actually, I think probably most of the time it's in multiple places. But anyway, thanks for the comment. And I thought I had another one on there, but well, this one I did not read it. This is from I don't think I did. This is from a while ago. It's 3 months ago. It's Jean Claude. Shout out to you, Jean Claude. He just said it's great to hear from you. This was 3 months ago when I came back and did an episode similar to what I'm doing right now, but that will not be the point of this episode. The idea for this episode was originally going to be simply what got me through, sort of because I try to be mindful of the people that are just starting their journey. I think it's rare, and I could be wrong here, but I think it's rare for people to stick with me for a long period of time. I think a lot of folks out there listen because they're lost and they need something. And so I try to be mindful of, more than likely, and I don't know this for sure, most of my listeners are folks that are struggling and they're in the beginning. Because you get to a certain point, and I know that some of you out there are regular listeners, and I love every fucking one of you. It'd be cool if we had a big party somewhere. That'd be fucking awesome. Anyway, I digress. Um, and so I try to remember that, and then try and think of what are some of the things. And this is tricky because I don't want to sit in the emotions and feelings that I had when I started this journey, but I also don't want to forget them because that makes it easier for me to speak to those that are in that beginning stages. So I completely forget and push down, or I don't know, uh, just try and move on completely. Then I think it would be harder for me to reach those folks, and those folks are critical to be reached because I think in general those are the guys that are most likely to commit suicide. And that's, if there is a mission, I think I've said this probably a million times before, that's certainly part of it, is trying to make sure that we don't lose any more men. And it could, because clearly we have, and clearly we will. But I want to be able to remember that time in my life so I can speak to those. And so I started thinking about what is something that would be potentially beneficial for someone in those beginning stages. And I thought about what got me through. What were some of the things, or maybe the one big thing, perhaps. And I think that's kind of where I'm going to go with this. Is what was the one thing that really kind of helped pull me through the first, I don't know, probably 12 months, I would say, roughly. And in saying that, when you're at the very beginning, oh man, I think there's there's almost nothing I can say that will take away. Well, there's nothing I can say. Let me be clear about that. There's nothing I could say to take away the pain. The only thing I can do, I think, through this podcast is provide hope but by providing stories of success, of people surviving divorce. Obviously, you know, my story is your story, and if I can make it, you can fucking. But anyway, after you get past that sort of period of time where the shock sort of weighs off and you become a little bit more accepting of your new life and your future, um, it's obviously still very challenging, but it's a period of time that once you get through, then there's a lot of questions about what next and what's my purpose and all those kinds of things. And I I can't speak to exactly what your purpose is. I think I could say a few things, but I'm no expert on that. I don't, and that's obviously something that should be covered. And maybe it has been. I don't know. It was 163 of these motherfuckers. I forget, honestly. I don't know how to tell you to find your purpose other than find things that excite you, that get your mind off of healthy things, that get your mind off the situation and make you feel a little bit hopeful and excited for the future. And the one thing for me, and obviously, again, there's that period of time where you're in it in the very beginning, and that's different than what I'm about to talk about. That is friends, therapists, maybe medication, uh, damn near anything that you need to keep yourself alive that doesn't also potentially kill you, like drugs and alcohol. Although I did my fair share, and thankfully I'm still here. But I didn't get to that much of an extreme. Anyway, the biggest thing that has propelled me, maybe even, or certainly pulled me through, was my desire that I still possess to this day to be a better human, to be a better man. And that's a big, giant fucking question. And it needs definition and it needs nuance. But that's what made me keep going and makes me keep going, along with the realization that taking my life wouldn't, it might help me, so to speak. And as Chris Illuminati from way back in, I don't even know what fucking episode that was, said, he said it might help you. You don't even know, right? There's a big life after death question there that maybe that fucks that all up too. I'm not going to speak to that because I don't have a fucking clue. But I know for sure it won't help the people around me. And there were people that pulled me out of this that I think I know actually would be fucking devastated if I decided to end my life. And so that's a piece of that can help you go in those dark moments. But the big thing for me was I just wanted to be a better man because I knew that I had fucked up in myriad of ways, like multiple ways. Like I fucked up left and right sometimes, a lot of times. But I knew I could be better because there are examples in the world as best we can see. Like there's the David Goggins, there's the Jocko Willeniks of the world, right? That from the outside they look like they're crushing life, and maybe they are, but we don't really know. I think Goggins has been divorced like 2 times, maybe 3 even. Shit, I don't know. Great man, um, but I don't know that he's living the perfect life, and Jocko is the same. But they're at least examples of success of going through trials and tribulations and surviving. And so I knew that I could be better and I wanted to be better. And that was really the thing that got me through. It made me not want to. I wanted to be better, so I didn't want to be bitter. I didn't want to be angry, although I have and had, sometimes I still have, a decent amount of anger, rightfully so. Because as we know, anger is really fueled by hurt in general, like in general statement. And so in order to sort of survive this, I knew that I didn't want to be bitter. I knew that I didn't want to be angry because not only did I know that that's not what a good man does, quote unquote, and I'm not saying be the opposite either. I'm not saying be a pushover and all that kind of shit. It's not what I'm talking about. But if you're in anger, you're in fight mode, right? So you're not in thinking logical brain. You're not being your best. You're not at your best. Period. End of story. And so I didn't want to be that way. I wanted to be a better man. That was so very important and still is so very important. Why? It's a good question. I'm glad you asked. I think at least partially because I wanted to give a big fucking middle finger to her and say, fuck you. I know that I'm a good man. Watch me be one. Watch me rise. So that was definitely a part of it. But also I think because I knew I could. Like I knew that I could be a better man. There was no question that I was not at my optimal in my marriage. There's no question. There's no question that I coasted sometimes. There's no question that I wasn't always at my best, and that's okay. But I knew that because of that, that I could be better. Doesn't mean be perfect, fuck's sakes, but it does mean be better. And so I fully embraced that. And I think I've achieved. I don't want to say achieved. I've made great because I haven't achieved, or maybe I have. But I've certainly made great fucking strides in my quest to be a better man. And gonna give you an example, but I took a walk today and I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to talk about this. And there was a point earlier today when I thought this was going to be the main topic for this podcast, but I think I'm gonna combine them, and I think it works. It shows the work done. I am a little bit bitter and angry at someone in particular right now. And I'm not naming names, and this isn't some airing of grievances. It's not Festivus or anything of that nature, but it revolves around dating. And I want to speak my mind and be honest and open, but I also want to be a better man and not be bitter and angry. And I am a little bit bitter and angry, but it was, the sort of ending of just situation with someone just ended, and I guess Saturday, and I am a bit bitter, but again, when you have a relational home for a hurt, it's a lot easier to process. It's a lot easier to put that file in the someone someone hurt me file if it's already happened in a similar kind of way. I mean, I wasn't married to this woman, never even met her in person, and no, I wasn't catfish. This is someone I've known for quite a while, and I really admired. Uh, and this could be a whole episode. Really, I probably should separate them, but fuck it, here we are. The train is rolling down the track. So this is a person that I admired for her beauty. First off, like right off the bat, stunning woman. The kind of woman that you show when I showed pictures of her to folks, they said, "Damn" and "Wow" and jaws dropped because she was stunning. And we were friendly, but she lived far away, so I never. We would have conversations every now and again, and it sort of sparked up recently, and it was awesome. And I felt like, and this is a struggle, and I'm still working on this. And I talk about this all the time about it's not finding a new person doesn't mean you're good, and it doesn't mean you're healed and all these things. But boy, does it fucking feel good when you are wanted, or when you at least feel wanted. And for me, it's especially there's an awesome, amazing feeling when it's someone that, and I think this speaks to my self esteem, when it's someone that is incredibly beautiful, likes me, and I'm like, holy shit, it, how can it not make you feel good about yourself? But I struggle with this because, if my self esteem's okay, I would say I'm a good 7.5 out of 10 on most days, sometimes more, sometimes less. But this person made me feel like a fucking nine. I was like, this woman likes me. Like this woman's amazing, and physically she was drop dead gorgeous. And I thought intellectually and mentally, and I thought she was healed, and I thought she was smart. And I'm not saying she isn't. I'll get to some of that, but and I don't think she's going to listen. But I found like I felt like I had found my shining north star, my beacon of hope, if you will. And I think as the closer I got, I feel like I think I realized it was just a fucking dumpster fire, and that it was a person that presented themselves as healed and healthy. And what occurred was I simply was used for my care, my attention, my affection. And that's how could that not make you bitter? But here's what I'll say. Um, it does a little bit. And if you're out there and you're dating and you've encountered situations that don't work out, it's hard not to be pessimistic. It's hard not to be bitter. It's hard not to be angry. But you know, I'm being honest. I picked her in a way, right? I went after her. I pursued her initially, and I idealized her. I wouldn't say I put her on her pedestal. I mean, I guess I did, but yeah, I probably did. And that's on me. She turned out to be not what I thought. And whose fault is that? Did I do because I was so attracted? Did I see clearly? Or was I so concerned with how she made me feel, how I knew people would feel about me if they saw her with me? Was I more concerned about that than I was for really trying to understand who she was? And people will, and we're all guilty of it. I'm sure that I am. People will obviously, thanks to social media, will present to you what they want you to see. And a person could present to you that they're healed and that they're enlightened in a way and that they're intelligent. And you get closer and you realize that's farce. They're just as damaged as you. They're just as bad at picking a mate as you were. Just because they're beautiful doesn't mean they have the ability to not see their faults, not live in their wounds. And that's human, right? So how much can I be mad at this person? I mean, I can be, right? But what as the great Ted Lasso said, if you haven't seen that show, fucking A. In I think it's the end of season one or two, I can't remember. But he's asking Nate, his assistant coach, what do I have to learn from this? And so I asked myself, what do I have to learn from this? Well, one, I got to stop idealizing people that I don't know because nobody's perfect and nobody is who they present to the world. I shouldn't say nobody. I mean, I try to be transparent. I mean, this person doesn't have a podcast, so I mean, I have to talk a lot, so it's hard for me to hide, I think. But I got to stop doing that. I have to stop prioritizing. Maybe I don't know. I struggle with this one. Like, I want to be attracted to the person that I'm going to be with. I want fucking people to say "damn" when they see whoever I end up with. You're damn right. And I've honestly been pretty lucky to have dated a few women that fall under that category. More than one, more than two. I would say a good 4 to 5 women that were very beautiful. And it didn't work out. And some of that was me and some of that was them. But how much I struggle with this again. How much do I prioritize looks? And obviously that's number one. That's important. But I'm looking for someone who's fucking beautiful. Now my taste might be different than yours, but I'm looking for someone beautiful. Why? And here's the problem. Here's the conundrum. Here's the question. And this will be talked about tomorrow with my therapist, I can assure you. Is it because I just want people to admire me for who is with me? And if that's the case, then I gotta figure that out. I gotta make a relational home for that, right? I gotta make sense of that. I get why in terms of its self-esteem thing, I think mostly, but is that preventing me from finding a partner? And yeah, I was traveling last week. I was in great city of Chicago, which I'm growing to love more and more as I spend more time there. And I was walking around Navy Pier, and if you've never been, it's beautiful. The weather was almost perfect. It was a little chilly, but it was a beautiful night. Crescent moon, so quarter moon, and it's just. And she was texting the whole time, and I was sending pictures, and it was just I felt like she was there. I felt like we were connected, and it was awesome, and it made me feel fan fucking tastic, for lack of a better description. And I think that obviously that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what we're all aiming for. But am I missing out on those opportunities to connect with people, women in particular, because I'm trying to hold out for that 9 out of 10 physically? But I've tried to date people that I'm not as attracted to, and I just can't do it. And that's it's not saying they're not attractive; they're just not attracted to me. So I'm struggling with this. But I gotta believe, like this podcast provides hope, hopefully, to all of you out there. I have to have the hope that I will find that one that does provide all the things that I'm looking for. Yes, the beauty. And by the way, the beauty to me doesn't have. She wasn't perfect. She was just fucking beautiful. But maybe the standards are too high. Maybe I'm not allowing myself to experience connection again because I'm too afraid. I don't honestly don't know. It's a struggle, and maybe you're struggling with it too. And that's kind of why I thought I'm just gonna fucking talk about it. See if maybe it if someone else out there is struggling with this. And maybe it's not, maybe your thing isn't beauty. Maybe it's something else that's preventing you from connecting. And do what I'm gonna do. Just take a long, hard look at it and try and answer the question. Am I protecting myself? Are my standards too high? Why is it that I can't seem to find myself in another relationship? Is it me still in terms of am I difficult? I don't think so. I think I'm quite the fucking opposite of that. But maybe I'm too much the other way. Am I a no more Mr. Nice Guy? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But maybe I am. And it's okay to this is part of the work. This is introspection and asking questions and taking long, hard looks in the mirror. Because regardless of any of what I just said, am I protecting myself? Am I missing out? Blah blah blah. At the end of the day, I just want to fucking. I want the next relationship to be the last fucking relationship. And so that means for me at this point, I just want to check all those boxes. But maybe, just maybe, I'm putting too much emphasis on this one particular box. I don't know. So the work continues. I will hopefully someday come on this fucking podcast and say I've found a wonderful woman and I'm happy in a relationship. That said, I am fairly happy. Like I'm sad some days, I'm lonely some days, but my self-esteem is okay. I'm okay. I'm shit, dare I say I'm good. And so I hope the same for you because and I'll wrap up with this. All the work that I've done has clearly paid off because I just got rejected by this woman and I didn't say go fuck yourself. I mean, I'm kind of saying it this podcast. I don't think she'll listen. She's got better things to do, I guess. But I didn't curse her out. I just said, I understand. Take care of yourself. I hope you find what you're looking for. And that was it. I didn't go into a real big funk and get really, really depressed. It's sad. Of course it's sad. She made me feel good. And it sucks that she decided she didn't want to move forward. But I'll be okay because I've been okay. Just got to keep going. That's all for this one. I hope it helps. Let me know. Do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Go to YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, all that shit. And I always hesitate to say that stuff, but it does fucking help because the way these things work is the more people watch, the more people watch. It's just how it fucking works. So if you're liking, subscribing, commenting, reviewing, all that good stuff, it just means that the algorithm is going to do what it does. So if you could do that, I would really appreciate it. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. Since my separation in July of 2019, I have done an incredible amount of work on myself. I've had many different therapists, life coaches, and went through different programs. I've taken all that I've learned and put it into my own program called Forged by Fire. If you are interested in having me help you navigate your divorce, please hit my website, risingphoenixdivorcecoach.com. I look forward to working with you.